That's so us.
Get it, Parker. All right, welcome to Preferably Biased. My name is Ryan Grimes.
I'm Tyler Dark.
And I'm Parker Brown.
All right, guys. Since this is the first recording of the show, I just want to explain what it is at first. It's just we're going to talk about weekly news, politics, and we're going to bring people of different political biases to discuss it. So you're not just getting one opinion on things. We're going to get one massive one, which is the wrong way to say that.
Well, one amalgam of many opinions.
Yes, we're going to get a massive opinion.
Yes,
we're not Fox
big
News.
Opinion. Yeah, no, we're not that, but we're also not whatever you could say, like I don't know, Democracy Now, or whatever the ones that the super liberal ones too. It's not like it's not.
Oh, the super liberal ones? You mean all of them?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
In a way, yeah.
All of them. Oh, shit.
Yo, I was watching CNN last night. And
Were you?
Yeah, and I was just like, because I always think of CNN, I'm just like, everyone's like, these days a lot of people talk shit on CNN, but I always thought of them as like, they kind of lean kind of to the left, but they're like, but no, that was my predisposition prior to watching Don Lemon last night, and I just watched him just like have his hand in his head the whole time anybody with a different opinion talked, and I'm like, oh, this is what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's super obvious now. It's just getting worse each week.
If you watch it late at night, then because I was watching it at it was like 11:30, close to midnight, so if you wait till that hour, that's when they get real liberal.
They just get the fuck around, kind of like ESPN late at night, where they're just like doing like back when Steph Curry and Klay Thompson started getting good, and they had the raindrops coming out of each hoop every time they made a shot. They're like Splash Brothers at like 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, well, I guess let's get into the first one here, guys. So this is Tyler's story. If you want to start off with that one, my man.
This is my story. Congressional Representative IIhan Omar was taking some heat this week for calling out other members of Congress because of their association with AIPAC, which is the pro-Israel lobby. And she did it in a way that seemed to many distasteful over Twitter. So she was denounced as anti-Semitic. Nancy Pelosi got on her case. She suggested in a tweet that all this stuff. I'm trying to not just be like, have it be just me. I'm trying to read like excerpts from this too. So what did she say? This House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler of New York issued a statement saying Omar's remarks were deeply hurtful and offensive, particularly after several other controversial remarks she had made about Israel. But that's a whole other thing. He said, "It is deeply disappointing and disturbing to hear Representative IIhan Omar's choice of words in her exchange with a journalist today, wherein she appears to traffic in old anti-Semitic tropes about Jews and money." End quote. Oh, that hurt in my mouth to say. It's such a dumb statement. Such an idiotic statement. And again, that's what, I don't want it to be just that, like, oh, what an idiot. Like, so that's what he said.
I actually agree. Parker, have you seen the actual tweet?
I haven't seen the tweet.
Cool. Well, we have Trump here in his statements first, so we're going to play that, and then we're going to actually show the tweet.
Hold on, real quick. What are these anti-Semitic tropes about Jews and money? Like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, that's it.
Christ.
Oh, man. But here's what Trump had to say about the whole thing. Actually, first, here's the actual apology she sent out.
Oh, yeah, she issued an apology because she was pressured by all of her congressional superiors to. So she said, "My intention is never to offend any constituents or Jewish Americans as a whole. We have to always be willing to step back and think through criticism, just as I expect people to hear me when others attack me for my identity. This is why I unequivocally apologize."
Oh, cheap.
Yeah, I know. Very, very cute.
Here.
Very, very cute.
Yeah, I don't believe any politician when they apologize about anything. But
there's no reason to. She didn't. I don't think she needed to, though.
And here's what Trump had to say about it.
Congressman Omar is terrible, what she said. I think she should either resign from Congress, or she should certainly resign from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. What she said is so deep-seated in her heart that her lame apology, and that's what it was lame, and she didn't mean a word of it,
Lame.
was just not appropriate. I think she should resign from Congress, frankly. But at a minimum, she shouldn't be on committees, certainly that committee.
And all of that fuss is over this tweet, Parker. Here it is. They ask, who do you think
thinks is paying American politicians to be pro-Israel? Yeah, isn't the AIPAC, isn't that like, the whole thing I read about it too was that it's like funded by the Israeli government, right?
it's a lobbying firm?
Yeah.
Dude, I went
It
on their
receives funding from the Israeli government for sure.
Yeah, I went on their website, and here is their actual mission statement, like the last little bit of their mission statement. Bam. Okay, so it goes, as American bipartisan pro-Israel lobby. It's literally in the mission statement that they're a lobby for Israel, like trying to get Congress to support Israel through foreign aid, government partnerships, and joint anti-terrorism efforts in the promotion of negotiating two-state solutions and a Jewish state of Israel and demilitarized Palestine state. So it's literally, I don't understand how she might be anti-Semitic. I have no idea, because I don't like this woman in the slightest because the way she handled the Covington kids.
Oh, yeah.
And kept that narrative going even after it was debunked. I know you probably have a different opinion on that, but
what about
the Covington kids? We talked
oh
about
yeah,
that.
no. So, well, no, she just like that whole shit. That just it's stupid. But
hey,
but, yeah, she
isn't it funny that someone that like witch hunts kids for being racist without knowing the full story is now getting witch hunted for being racist?
It's actually extremely
by a bunch of people who don't know the full story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually,
you reap what you sow, Omar. Now, let's be two things I think have to be said. One, I don't think any of us fully understands the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So let's just leave that alone. And two, like, Trump can't talk, right?
Yeah, he's not that great at it.
Anything he says about someone's statements making them, like, qualifying them for resignation or them being that horrible, coming out of his fucking mouth, that's just stupid.
Right.
After all the shit he has said and done, when he did that shit, I thought it would all be over when he mimicked that one reporter who had the disability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But like,
he does that a lot to just everybody, though.
But like, just the optics of it are so bad. And
right.
But like, so if what Representative Omar said, if that qualifies her for resignation, then half the shit he's ever said qualifies him for resignation. So anything he says about her saying inappropriate shit,
Well, the thing that I don't understand is that, like, I don't understand how this is considered anti-Semitic speech. You're literally going, hey, that Israel lobbyist, like, little group is lobbying politicians. Everyone's like, oh, I can't believe you would say that.
Yeah, no, any criticism of Israel's policies or government is, like, that's immediately what primarily Republicans jump to, is they say, oh, you're anti-Semitic. It's just an anti-Semitic trope that you're anti-Israel, so you're anti-Semitic. It's like, no, you can... Like, Israel has a government, and, the government has a president, and they have their Congress is, it's called the Knesset. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right, but they have people who operate in that shit. Yeah, but they fucking, there are fallible human beings in that government, just like there are in ours, and you can call out members of that government without being anti-Semitic.
Very true. Parker, you want to say something?
Oh, just that... There is, like, I probably should have posted this, but I saw another story, like in Texas, like it's illegal for you to protest against Israel.
Oh,
like they have.
That's going right. Yeah, I got a whole thing on that we're just about to talk about. But yeah, keep going.
Like they have so much, like the country of Israel seems to have so much like influence in the West. It's just crazy, and like you can't even talk about it. Yeah. Like, this girl says one thing, and just look at how quick, like, the dogs come out to like tear her apart.
And it's not even like she went full like Zionism on everybody. She just mentioned that, hey, Israel has a lobbying firm, and everyone went, how the hell?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, they were like, well, where do you think the pro-Israel money is coming from, Congresswoman? She's like, probably from the pro-Israel lobbying firm.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you guys, I follow a lot of communist and very far left subreddits on Reddit, and a lot of people were not liking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's condemnation of Omar for this stuff. Like a bunch of people were getting off the bandwagon.
Oh, really? Just for...
Because she condemned Omar for saying that tweet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that at all either.
Well, that makes her a little more lame to me.
I already thought.
You guys
Sorry,
start
AOC.
following the communist subreddits.
Post them during the week, and then we can talk about them.
You're right.
Bam.
So yeah, I don't think that what she said is anti-Semitic. If she's an anti-Semite, I don't know. I don't think she's done anything to prove it. But yeah, I think it's really dumb to say that any criticism of Israel's government or policies or military or anything about it, the way it operates as a country, I think to say that anything bad you say about that is anti-Semitic is just, it's wrong, but it's also really dangerous. Like, you shouldn't, because that's how you like really stifle free speech.
Well, people are acting as if this chick came out and be like, hey guys, I read this history book and there's this thing called the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And like, we should do that again. Like, that's what everyone's acting like she said.
Yeah. No, it's bullshit.
But I believe that the whole thing is just kind of trying to make a big fuss to cover up what just happened in the Senate. And it's this whole bill right here with Marco Rubio that's coming up. So, the U.S. Senate passes the Anti-BDS legislation with strong majority. This is actually what you were referencing to, Parker. There's 26 states in the union that have a law on their books that says the local government or the state government is allowed to boycott you if you want to boycott Israel. Like, if you don't want to do like business as a contractor. So a bill was just passed recently that is literally, like, here's the wording in the bill. So if you don't agree or you're public with your criticisms of how Israel is dealing with the Palestine situations, the local government and these 26 that have passed it, and they're encouraging more to do it, are allowed to take your pension if you're a government worker, you can take your retirement, all your assets. They can choose to not do business with you if you're a contractor, all because of your opinion on this one thing, which seems fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fund that is controlled by a state or local government.
Yes, so like,
if you have a retirement, I mean, you can have retirement annuities that aren't necessarily controlled by state or local governments, right?
Right.
Yeah, but if you worked in government your whole life,
yeah, no,
you can't come out against Israel now because your pension's going to be fucked.
Yeah, and you can look at a trend of like growing government workers in the society. Like, it's just going to keep going up. So
I think it's getting challenged in court, though. Like, a lot of people, I think, especially in Texas, it's going to the Supreme Court. I'm pretty sure.
I have no doubt about that. I think this bill is actually being put in place because that thing in Texas is going to the Supreme Court, and they want to have a law on the books that is just like, no, Congress is fine with this before that actual thing starts up.
I don't get how this is
legal.
There's no way it's not against the First Amendment. There's just no way in hell.
No, it is. It's
100%.
It's in direct violation of the First Amendment.
Now the question is Israel, is this such like a thing that they're going to come up with some bullshit to just keep it in place? You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
Like, is the government just going to ignore the First Amendment? They kind of already have.
Oh,
but...
dude, yeah, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, they
Oh,
ignore so much.
No, I mean the courts.
Yes, they do it all the time.
Especially our current Supreme Court certainly will.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's right. Yeah, you're kind of right. 5-4, baby.
This is the wording in the actual bill. it was passed with a majority. Out of the 77 of the senators voted for it, a majority of the Democrats, and only one Republican voted against it. And I guess, Parker, you can take a giant freaking guess who that might have been. Obviously, Rand Paul, the only one that cares about our freedoms whatsoever on that side. Here's
your
him.
father.
What are you saying? What are you saying, Parker?
Your father that you don't know about.
Yeah,
your secret father.
The guy I wish was my father.
Do you love Rand Paul?
Dude, Ron Paul and Rand Paul are like my two favorite politicians of all time.
You mean the literal symbols of libertarianism
Yes.
in America?
Yes.
I'm surprised you like them, Ryan.
Oh shit.
It caught me off guard.
Ron Paul got my attention in 2008. I will say that.
Yeah, of course, because he was a great candidate and should have won.
Well, I think in 2008, he was one of the only people saying legalize weed, too.
Yeah. He was the only Republican saying it.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't win
Legalize
off of that.
weed.
I think that's what got my attention, because in 2008, I was 15, so...
Oh, you're
I
prime
was
weed
like,
smoking.
yeah, do weed. And I would have been bummed. Like, what do you mean I have to be 21? Like, man, fuck Ron Paul. He's breaking his promise.
Do you think that stops anybody
What do you mean? The
having
age
to be
restriction?
21 to smoke weed?
Oh, no, just like legally. It's like, well, now I have to continue going to my drug dealer. Like,
Yeah.
now nothing changes.
All that does is keep a small proportion of the drug dealers in business. Okay, so this is what Rand had to say about it.
If you go farther back in our history, about the time of the Boston Tea Party and beyond, another boycott, you find that people were boycotting the slave trade. There were people boycotting buying sugar out of the Caribbean because they didn't want to have any of that money go to supporting the slave trade. I would argue that the right to boycott is about as fundamental a right as we have in America. It's a big part of the First Amendment. It's an important part of the First Amendment. But it is a fundamental aspect of freedom to be able to dissent, to protest, even when everybody thinks you're wrong. That's what America's about, that you have the right to protest, that the government will not squelch your speech. How did we get to this point where flippantly today we are going to encourage states to have limitations on the First Amendment? I don't know how we got here.
And then Marco Rubio had himself a little tweet storm. This is the guy who actually wrote the bill. He goes, he was responding to Bernie Sanders and a couple other people, but he's saying that those criticisms are a lie, and the bill does not punish political activists. It protects the rights of local state governments that decide to no longer do business with those who boycott Israel. So he basically just said that we're not going to violate their rights. We're just going to make it legal so that the states can violate your rights.
That's literally, that tweet says, we're not going to violate their rights. We're just going to violate their rights.
Yeah.
That's all that says.
You don't understand it. We're all for state-run government violating our rights right there.
Yeah.
We just don't want it federally done.
It's like saying, look, I'm not encouraging my kid to drink and drive. I'm just giving him the choice.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just, the liquor cabinet's there. Here's the keys. Get there.
Dude, what the fuck? Like, yes, human beings have more rights than local governments. Like, what the fuck? Your government isn't allowed to, I don't know. Your government shouldn't be allowed to boycott stuff.
Yeah,
how can your government boycott you? Like, that's fucked.
And this is
so fucked.
These laws on these 26 states that have them, they've been around for years, dude.
Yeah.
They haven't even, this just came up because of this. Because that lawsuit that's coming up, they're trying to give it another law on the books federally to make it look a little bit more legit.
It's crazy.
Man, I need some chapstick.
It's crazy.
Dude.
And my thing is, is Marco Rubio this dumb that he thinks that logic makes sense? Or is he just doesn't care that everyone can clearly tell that he's lying?
I don't know. He's just a little choir boy.
This guy was almost president.
No, he wasn't.
Marco Rubio?
He was never going to be president.
He would have lost the general. There's no way.
There's no way. Like, he would have lost to a fucking cucumber. That dude was weak as shit.
My favorite video is the one where he keeps going, let's dispel with this fiction that Hillary Clinton doesn't know what he's doing. Or who is it, Obama?
Oh, like when he kept saying the same thing over again, and that old
Yeah.
old fat boy
And
Christie.
Yeah, he was
Christie
like, there
called
it is
him
again.
out?
There's this.
He's doing it. He's third time, yeah. And then all of a sudden, Christie went up in the polls just because he's just like, see, he's repeating himself.
Yeah.
I think everyone's just like, oh, we got him, burn.
Yeah, now I'm gonna vote for Chris Christie,
Just
because of that sick burn.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, the next election is the only time I've looked forward to following an election.
Oh my god, me too. Like, just
The only thing that sucks is there isn't going to be like a big primary. So Trump is just going to be solely focused on whoever the Democrats run.
Well, there's one guy who's trying to go for the nomination.
No, my
Yeah,
Bill
who gives a
Weld.
fuck?
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. He
Yeah,
ruined the Libertarian Party last time around. I hated that guy. Yeah.
I'm just, but there's people who were like, that's bad decorum usually, but
What do you mean? Running against the sitting president?
Yeah, to challenge the sitting president, to your party's nomination. But
It's very against decorum.
yeah,
But dude, supposedly, okay, well, I don't know what you got planned next, but supposedly Trump's like approval numbers are doing pretty good right now, from a thing I saw.
Just like,
pretty good.
what were they?
Let me see if I can find them.
Parker looks so
Get
cool
a
with
mouthful of plume.
Oh, there it is.
It's definitely in my search history. Trump approval rating index. Here we go. I'll put it in the Skype. Or pretty good, like. Sorry,
By
I
his
should have
standards.
Like not 30%.
like compared to usual.
Yeah, so like above 30 or 35%.
It's right now it's 37% strongly approve, 41% strongly disapprove, 50% total approval rate versus 49% total disapproval rate.
Well, I do think he's gonna win again. Like I can. That I don't know what you guys think.
Did you see the great burn he had on Elizabeth Warren?
Which one?
Where he was like, congratulations to the first Native American woman running for president.
Right, and that's why he's gonna win
Oh
because he's like,
my god!
regardless
He
of
should
how much.
resign. He should resign because that statement about Native Americans and her heritage, it really comes from his heart. And if he makes an apology about it, he's not going to mean it. It's lame. It's going to be a lame apology. He should resign.
Dude.
See
That
how
is so
works?
funny though, Tyler. Because
Yeah.
she kept claiming she was a Native
Oh, yeah,
American.
no, I don't wanna-
And then
I'm-
she's only like 0.05% Native American or
that
something.
was a bad idea. That was and I think she's even said like, I really shouldn't have, I really should have hopped off that train while I was ahead.
Dude, she literally wrote like a letter apologizing to Native Americans.
Yeah.
Like she was just like, "Listen, all of you, I
I
sorry.
really didn't mean to falsely represent you or like claim some of your heritage. Yeah.
My mom told me something once, and I just ran with it forever. Didn't double check.
Yeah, so she even like fell, but she didn't double down. She was like, no, see, look, there's my Native American.
My grandma says that we're Cherokee. The fuck we are? No, we're not.
Yeah, no, my dad says like, oh yeah, your family, they're from Sioux Indians from the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. I'm like, no. There's not. I've seen my grandmother. She's the one. She's from Tennessee, but it's like she's
white as fuck.
exactly just
Yeah.
like all of us.
Oh my god.
There's
Have you
yeah.
guys ever tested your percentage of your heritage?
No, I'm not
No.
sending that shit to the fucking some database where they have all my DNA.
They've already started doing it where police have access to those DNA records now, and they can use them in crimes, like crime solving.
Oh, I'm glad that you guys said that because I was just about to do it.
Yeah, no, that's the only
I
reason
feel like
I haven't because
you'd be
it's
very
really
against
fascinating.
that.
What?
I feel like you'd be very against that, Ryan.
I would be. Well, I mean, I'm very against what you just said. I didn't know it was happening. But I was for knowing what the hell my heritage was.
Oh yeah, and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
prior to like hearing about them handing over that information to other parties,
It's kind of
like,
cool.
I mean, but I was just like, I'm not like against it. Like, if you want to do that, knowing those circumstances, fucking by all means, but I'm not gonna do it.
I just want to know how black I am. I know I got some black in me.
Oh, I can tell you right now.
How much?
Big goose egg, bud. 0%.
Oh, damn.
So to say, you don't need to spend $99 on a shit kit to tell
Hey,
you
man.
that you're 0% black.
I play some hard D in basketball. I can tell you that right now.
You're pretty
And
tall.
I can't shoot. I
You're
can't
tall.
shoot.
You look like you could be one of those like Russian exports that they have in the NBA. You know, like one of like Christian Novstaloshkovich who like gets like 32 points. It's like, who the fuck is this guy?
I'm a
I
EuroLeague
can see that.
slasher.
He's very good
What's
at
your last
EuroLeague.
name? Is it Ovechkin?
No, it's a fake name.
Ovechkin is a fake name?
My real name is Grimes. Ovechkin's just because I got to apply for jobs in the future and because we do stuff like this. Well, now it's out there. Grimes is on it right now, so we released this one. I'm still fucked. I might change it back.
Okay,
to
well, yeah, and
Grimes.
you can edit this part out. I'm just curious right now, like, because I had heard like Ovechkin and Grimes. So
Yeah.
I thought Grimes was a stage name.
No. Ovechkin is just, I changed it real quick because I don't want employers looking at my Facebook stuff because it's constantly just like, hey guys, war is bad.
Yeah.
And I don't like John McCain even though he passed away.
Yeah.
And then like, and then everyone's just like, oh dude, we're never going to hire you ever.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Oh shit. What else, what do we have next year? But I can't believe this shit at all.
Yeah, all of Ryan's Israel boycotts are on his face.
yeah. Like, hey, they're doing bad stuff to Palestine, and
Yeah.
then now I don't have a job.
I'm not buying Bamba. You guys ever had Bamba? It's an Israeli snack. I'm not buying Beasley. I went to Israel.
What's up with Bomba?
Bamba's good. Bamba is like it's like cheese curls, but instead of cheese dust, it's peanut butter dust. It's very interesting.
Oh Jesus!
And it's
that
good.
sounds-
It's like
That sounds almost
Sounds
like
amazing.
Reese's Puffs.
Yeah.
it is kind of like that. But it's not like the Reese's Puffs are like hard, like peanut butter flavored. It's like a hard cereal, whereas these it's the cheese puff
Gotcha.
texture. Like it's like more airy. It's good.
I thought you were referencing the Mo Bamba song since we were on basketball for a second.
Oh no, there is an Israeli snack called Bamba, and it's delicious. Shouts out to Bamba,
Okay.
but I'm not buying it.
Not buying.
Don't tell my local government.
Here's the next thing. This is another thing that happened. This isn't in America. This is in the UK, but this UK woman arrested and locked up in a cell for calling a transgender woman a man on Twitter. Now, I immediately thought that this was kind of bullshit because it
You have
was
a
done
highlighter.
by the Daily Mail. So I was kind of like, they're probably a little biased on this little thing. But
Yeah.
apparently, I did a little bit more research into it, and it's real. They even interviewed the what you call it. The police,
I got kind of a kick out of this.
the arrest of a woman for calling somebody a man on a.
Well, what part of her statement? Just how she kind of milked her situation.
Oh.
Autistic 10-year-old daughter, yeah.
Yes.
My breastfed 20-month-old son.
Yes.
Like, what about being breastfed is gonna like make
Yeah.
that kid more sensitive to your arrest?
Very true.
Like, what are you milking there?
I 100% agree with that. She
No
was,
pun
she was
intended.
trying to like even. Oh. No. Oh, and I'm out.
Yes. No more after that.
But no, she was milking it a little bit with that statement. But everyone does that kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
But no, dude, she was getting in an argument with some transgender chick online, and she's an activist that's done this before. Apparently, in UK, they have laws to the point where you like, this is apparently malicious communication, and they will take you in and have a record on you for that shit, dude. And
Well, I think that's kind of shitty.
that's completely shitty. Like, Parker, what do you think about that?
I just remember all the dumb shit I said over Xbox Live when I was like 13.
Right.
And I'd probably be in jail for life now if they had those laws here in America.
Yeah, but that's another thing. I'm like, those are laws in the UK.
Yeah,
And
but those
I'm-
laws
I'm-
always kind of work their way over here.
They sometimes do, but I don't know. I don't like putting my mouth on because I don't understand enough about how their government works.
This is the whole thing with hate speech, right? Why, even though hate speech is terrible, it should probably still be legal, is because then you have stuff like this. Like,
Yeah, this actually.
is it a shitty thing to do? Like, I don't think she probably should have done it, but I also don't think she should go to jail for something she said that's not, like, inciting violence, you know what I mean?
I was about to, well, what exactly did she, because I never saw
Oh, I couldn't find
interaction.
the tweets. I just saw the police report. It said that she kept calling because the person was being rude to her, so she kept calling the transgender woman a man. And then the transgender woman reported her to the police and said it was malicious, like communication and threatening to her. So the police came, arrested her. She was in the jail for about 7 hours. Then they released her. So it's not like they kept her there, but the actual offense, she was arrested for it, even though she wasn't charged. Which is kind of seems where that kind of shit starts off. And
yeah, it seems a little 1984-ish.
Right. And if you're thinking about the boycott shit with Marco Rubio, that's how that starts up here. You go, oh, we're just going to do some people that boycott Israel. It's like, you like Israel, right? They're good people. Like, oh my God, like they're our allies. Then all of a sudden, they just slowly start weaning everything down to the point where it's like, you can't say shit that could be misconstrued about against the government, and they're going to use, like, discriminate against people like this in order to get that.
Okay, that's a good point. It's a very good point. I don't think she should have been arrested. I mean, it's really shitty to misgender someone. Especially when they've made it clear that, like, you're misgendering me. Can you not, like, and if you keep doing it, you're definitely an asshole, but you don't deserve to be arrested.
Right.
Like, you deserve to have someone say, wow, you're an asshole. And
that's about it.
That's about the extent.
You can't even punch them.
Yeah,
that's what Call of Duty taught me, is if someone calls you, gay, you gotta call them twice as gay. You gotta call them big gay. You know what I mean? Like,
you're double gay.
You're double. You
big
can't,
time gay.
If someone misgenders you, swing back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
All right, you fucking dumbass. Like, you dumb looking.
I love Tyler's insults. Yeah, you like, fucking dumb.
Yeah,
I'm dumb.
I just roll with it. I'm just like, because something will come out. I'm like, I'll look at you long enough. I'll pick something.
Oh, after that,
I don't have anyone to look at right now. So I'm like, I was looking at Parker, but I'm like, I don't want to fucking pick on. Parker's cool.
Yeah, no one ever picks on me, so I'm very fragile.
Yeah. No, I don't want to pick on my buddies, but like if someone's fucking, getting in your face, you just pick out something to make fun of. Because if someone's okay. Making fun of someone for being, ugly is bad.
And funny sometimes.
You shouldn't do that. But if an ugly person starts getting in your face, call that motherfucker ugly. Go right ahead. Because you're not, because that's a weapon you have. And is it kind of a low blow? Sure. But you're not attacking them for being ugly. You're attacking their ugliness because they're an asshole.
I'm not a big enough man to not do that. If you're coming at me to be an asshole, and this goes to transgender stuff too. If you want to be called them, they, or her, he, whatever you want, if you show me respect, I'm going to give you the respect by calling you the pronoun you want to be called. But if you start like sitting here talking about how I'm an asshole, or like, well, maybe because I am a little bit of an asshole, but that might be a little different. But if you are not showing me the proper respect, I'm gonna sit there and just call you a dude, like just to piss you off.
Well, I don't know if I'd go there. I wouldn't misgender a trans person. I'd probably just like make fun of something else about them because I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, your thighs are thick.
Yeah, so I'm just like, look at ugly. Yeah, just go back to ugly.
Yeah,
just get back to call everyone ugly.
I'd be like, your thighs are thick because you're a man, and then they'd be like, I'm a fucking. It's just like, no, I'm sorry about that.
No, I don't. But like, I would. Yeah, there are certain aspects of you shouldn't be an asshole to people, but if they're being an asshole to you, it's certain limits that were previously there.
How far do you go, Parker?
I go after their entire life, their entire existence.
Yeah.
I talk about their kids. I talk about it all.
Yeah. Go after their families.
No, but I probably wouldn't misgender a trans person, even if I was getting heated. I feel like that's like, I don't know. It's not the same.
That's just below my pedigree.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm petty enough.
It's not the same as like the N-word, but it's kind of like the translation for transgender people. You know what I mean? It's nowhere near as bad.
It's a vehicle of oppression.
But even if I was getting heated with a black guy,
Explain that.
A vehicle of oppression. Like you're, basic denying.
It's like the worst thing you can do.
You're denying them the right to their own identity, to their
exactly.
Face.
Okay. See, this is the part I don't understand. So I'd like to actually talk about this for a little bit. So
sure.
Yeah. go ahead on to
Oh,
that
shit, I'm out of
because we've
coffee.
agreed on everything else so far. Which
Yeah,
is,
we gotta stop doing that.
yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's.
doesn't make
I
a
was about to.
fun
It doesn't
show.
make for a good podcast.
No.
But no. When you, yeah, someone who identifies as a man or a woman or non-binary or however they identify, I think they got a right to that, and I also don't think it's really my place to say, well, because of what's in between your legs, because of your penis or your vagina or your literal genitals, which are none of my fucking business.
Right.
That's what I'm going to use to determine a part of your identity. And I don't know what that part of your identity means to you. I don't know how much of your identity your gender is.
Mm-hmm.
But typically when someone is, doesn't identify with their biological sex, that comes with its own baggage, and you got enough to deal with.
Right.
So you've got your whole life you're being told you're wrong. And so I don't like going after that. Just because it's like, I believe that if you want to, if you believe you're a woman, then there's no reason I shouldn't, because you know you better than anybody. And if you really believe that in your heart, then it's not my right to say that what's between your legs makes who you are different from what you believe you are. That's just how I look at it, I guess.
Interesting. Part. What do you feel the same with that?
I just feel like it's something. If you're transgender, it's obviously something important enough to you that it's been like a struggle in your life. You know what I mean? Like, you've definitely I don't know. You've definitely had some like struggles and stuff. So it feels like you're like denying that person all that stuff, like their whole struggle throughout life. I'm not saying this very well, but
Right.
like they go through life and their gender identity is obviously very important to them, and then you're gonna go like fuck you and everything that you've worked for, struggled against. You know what I mean?
Especially from the comfort of someone who, like a cis person, who the comfort of living your whole life with a gender identity that matches your biological sex. Like,
So-
you've never,
Mhm.
like for me, I've never, it's never entered my mind that like I'm a woman. Or
But when
I'm
you're
not
saying
a
gender
man.
identity, you're saying that like they just feel like they're a so it's like a transgender woman. They feel like were born a guy, but they should have been a woman, and they want to identify as a woman. That they don't actually think they're, or
They're not saying like that penis is a vagina, because that's
Right.
biological sex, and that's
Right.
science, and that, again, that's none of my business.
right.
What's between someone's legs, but until they let it become my business and we get to business.
Right, because
But that's the only time it's my business.
I've talked to multiple transgender people, and like I call them what they want to be called, but they show me a sort of respect, and they're not assholes towards me. They're good people, like they're nice people, the ones I've met.
Yeah, good people are good
So
people.
I'm going to respect what they want to be called. I don't give a shit. Like if your name's Tyler, and if you want to be like, oh, my name is now Mo Bamba. Like from that one song. It's like, okay, fine. I like you. I'll call you Mo Bamba.
Every time you bring up Mo Bamba, you say, from that one song. Something about that's funny to me. Like, Mo Bamba from the song. Like,
That's how you can. That's how you know I'm 100% white.
yeah, I was about to say that's
Yeah.
all the evidence we need.
Oh shit! I don't even
Fuck
need a test.
Ancestry.com.
But no, I am a proponent that if you want to be called that, you should probably be respectful of other people.
But
You know
when
what I
I
mean?
want
But
to
if
be
you're-
called Mo Bamba, like if I'm just hypothetically,
right.
if I'm Tyler and I say I want to be called Mo Bamba, what is the source of my wanting to be called a Mo Bamba? That's really, I mean, it may be a part of my identity, but it's more than, at its core, it's just another name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you say I identify as a woman, that's not just changing a name. That's just,
Right.
that's a whole different thing. So, like, I haven't had to go through any, like, there's no struggle in me being called Mo Bamba. And when people call me Tyler instead of Mo Bamba, they're not
Coming at you like
they're not denying me a part of who I am.
right.
In the same way that you're denying a transgender person the right to be identified as they are when you misgender.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people mix it up by thinking that they're trying to claim that they're that sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they go into being like, no, there's only one or two sexes, yada yada yada. Which I mean, obviously, I think all of us would believe that, but I'm not like I said, I'm not against using the pronouns. But if you're being a dick towards me, or you're just like if I feel that you're not a good person, like you get those vibes off people. It's not like every transgender person in the world is like a good, nice person.
No, I'm sure there's lots of trans assholes out there.
Exactly,
but I want to attack them for being an asshole, like
Gotcha.
not for being trans.
Gotcha.
And like, you know, it's just one of those things. It's like I just and it goes back to, you know, like calling someone, like making fun of someone for being ugly. It's like, am I denying them a part of their identity by making fun of them being ugly? I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same kind of bad.
Nah, because
to
they
me.
ugly as shit.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't, you know, sting the same in my heart because I'm like, I don't feel like I'm committing as much a crime as I am by misgendering someone.
All I know is when I put on a little bit of weight, I get a bunch of man boobs going on, and if I'm in an argument with a transgender person and they point those out, I'm gonna be like, "Listen, you're not a real woman." Like,
I was about to, well, because it's just like, well,
because
that hurts.
it's so hurtful.
I was about to, yeah, there's certain things that people point, like, hey, Tyler, where'd that little pooch come from? Probably when you were overweight as a kid. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
I'm trying to fill it in with muscle. There's a lot left. It's just loose skin everywhere. And that's like the one, it's just like, yeah, if you did get on me for that, I might like, I don't know. The claws might come out, but I'm not pro misgendering people. I'll leave it right there. I am anti misgendering.
Gotcha.
In any scenario I can think of, I'm anti misgendering.
Well, this
now in the same sense, I'm not going to go to a cisgendered, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, you're a woman. I guess that's the best analogy I can make. It's just being like, you're a woman. You should be in, you know, doing woman things.
Yeah, but then I would be like, no, I'm not.
No, yeah, you are.
But yeah, I'd be like, okay, well, I don't like that guy. I'm not going to communicate with you anymore. Like, that's the thing I don't understand. Like you were talking about, Parker.
But what if
like,
the whole world was doing it? What if most people were viewing you that way? They're just like, no, that's he. I mean, he might say he's a man, but he's a fucking woman. And it's all, and the only thing that determines that you're a man is the dick and balls you got between your legs. But based on biological sex, based on that argument.
But that's the thing, though. Like, you are a man because your genitals
You're
decide
a man.
what the, yeah, right. But so you're just way more feminine than the average man. Right? You like to dress up the way that I don't see.
Well, you can be a feminine man too. You can be effeminate as shit and still identify as a man. See, that's where it just gets complex. Like, womanhood isn't femininity, and you know, to be a woman doesn't mean to be feminine. You can be a trans person and then be as literally as manly as you were before you began to identify as trans. But that doesn't. I don't think that makes you less of a woman.
You know what we'll do one of these times, since we're going to keep doing this, we'll have one of our trans friends come on and we'll talk to them about it.
Oh, I don't know. That could get sticky.
Could it? I mean,
I just
friends.
don't want. Oh yeah, of course. Like, as long as it's all from like a place of, you know, respect and love and all that. Like, we're doing it like it's all love. It's all love. We're not going to be like, so what makes you think you're a woman? Like, you know, anything like that. I don't want to.
I'll be the Ben Shapiro guy because I'm not actually in the room.
Yeah, they can't do it.
My facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. But no, it's an interesting little.
My facts don't care about your feelings.
I love just saying that now in situations where it doesn't apply at all.
What was the most recent one you used it in?
Do we want to go to which is better, Chipotle or Qdoba? And I said Chipotle, and the other person said Qdoba, and I said my facts don't care about your feelings.
Dude,
that is a fact, though.
Like,
you were right.
We would stop being friends, Parker, if you do that to me in person.
Why are you pro Qdoba?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, boy.
What?
Yeah, Qdoba's the shit.
Oh, I
love my
Qdoba
chipotle.
But now that you say it, I can't even. You're gonna say Qdoba boy. It rolls on the tongue too much as an insult.
Yeah, it's too bouncy a word and it sounds too good.
Damn it,
Qdoba boy.
You've won this round. Okay, so do we remember the this person?
I think this is gonna prove. I think this is gonna set a lot of things straight.
This is what I'm talking about when someone's being an asshole.
We're not doing that. You're gonna give me my fucking money back.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
I'm sorry.
It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to. You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay?
Both of you guys?
Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
I actually said both of you guys. It was a general.
Right beforehand, you fucking said sir.
Sir? Okay.
Motherfucker, take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you a fucking sir.
I apologize.
Motherfucker.
I apologize now.
Yeah, don't fuck with that lady.
Jesus Christ.
Now, that lady sucks,
Right, exactly.
but she's a lady.
I mean, I call her a lady.
She's a woman. I'd be like, but that woman is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Like, and her outfit sucks.
I'd call her a woman, and then I'd pick her for my pickup football game. That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens with like a lot of people who are a little bit even less conscious than like I would be is they see clearly this is the beginning of a transgender woman, right? This woman.
Yeah.
The beginning.
Yeah, like they don't have any implants or anything. They're still buff as fuck. Like
Well,
it's just
but that doesn't make you any less trans. You can pre-op, post-op. That's just it's all. I think it's all about identity.
okay.
Like to question whether or not someone is trans because they have or haven't had any surgery. I don't think that's right.
Gotcha.
I think that's just a part of the process, and it's
No,
also
I'm just-
it's also
I'm just-
super expensive.
I'm
so.
just talking about the aspect of like acceptance in other people's view. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like the further they are closer to looking to a woman, then no one gives a shit anymore.
Well, yeah, because society is very shallow and it's all about aesthetics. It's like
Right,
if you
right.
look enough like a woman, I'll call you a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just the shallowness of society.
But did you all know that she's a rapper?
Really?
What?
You got any of her tracks?
Oh, I have them right now. That's why
Oh,
I set this
shit.
up, sir.
No, see, this is the part where the video froze up for me. I didn't get to anything.
Oh,
past
then
this.
you were going to enjoy yourself
Oh,
100%. Okay, so
See, let's make fun of this.
they've
Like, we don't need to
released-
misgender someone when they've given us all this.
Okay, I see where you're at. I might agree with you on this actually. Okay, so it's about a 47-second of going on here. Bam.
Superman.
Oh yeah.
Serotonin. No way.
I got a thing or two to say to you, so give this chick a minute. I'ma take the mic away from you. They got a thing to prove while millions of people talking shit. Watching Tiffany GameStop, bitch, straight off the shit. Intentionally misgendered once, you're gonna get corrected. Do it twice, I'm disrespected. 3 times, and I get aggressive. But the 4th to a sticker, need a 5th or summon demons. And the bitch is fit to screaming, so heated up fire breathing. Cause the sis just isn't seeing how it feels when they attacking us. And most don't even see it when they beat us till they fracture us. Until we crack and bust the ash and dust, you fucking laugh at us. You bastards just continue coming after us just to damage us. But bitch, we fucking fabulous, ready to chop ahead of 3 and put an end to teams that maliciously misgender.
Oh my god.
Yo, that was weak as fuck.
Dude, the amount of times she rhymed us with us is despicable.
Yeah.
Parker, first of all,
That was weak.
First of all,
Weak bars.
I just want to say this. Those bars identify as straight fire.
They identify as
Those
straight
bars
fire.
identify as straight fire.
Oh.
Yo, she had a few hot rhymes in there. She was
Okay,
like,
which ones?
What? I don't know. Like something about like I think did she rhyme centipede with misgender me? Or did
she?
I just hear that?
She might
That's
have.
a very, like,
go.
that's not even a good rhyme, though.
Hold up, that's Kanye West style though.
Or maybe I just heard I'm mainly just impressed that she's called Serotonin.
Serotonin is the best part.
That's the best
The
rap
whole
name I've
thing.
ever heard.
You know what's? Oh my god! You know what's funny? Before like you mentioned that right now, I never put 1 and 2 together of like serotonin. I was like, oh, serotonin.
Oh, Miss
like,
Tonin.
Oh, Miss
Yeah.
Tonin over here going with the shit. Okay, let's listen for that line he was talking about.
Need a 5th or summon demons. And the bitch is fit to screaming, so heated up fire breathing. Cause the sis just isn't seeing how it feels when they attacking us. And most don't even see it when they beat us till they fracture us. Until we crack and bust the ash and dust, you fucking laugh at us.
Yeah, until we crack and bust to ash and dust, you fucking laugh at us. I'm like, yeah, that's some. There you go.
That's some Eminem shit right there.
Was that the last part?
Until we crack and bust the ash and dust, you fucking laugh at us. You bastards just continue coming after us just to damage us. But bitch, we fucking fabulous, ready to chop ahead of 3 and put an end to teams that maliciously.
No, she
No,
said
put an
put an end to teens who maliciously misgender me.
They say teens or teams.
That's some pretty good alliteration, too. I don't know. Maybe serotonin.
Yeah,
is a good red pill.
she'll be featured on a Tech 9 track.
But here's the thing right there. So she took what that guy did at GameStop as malicious.
Well, he did keep calling her sir. Like,
Yeah,
don't
but he's getting
fucking
yelled at. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Like,
But, like,
we're
just
just
imagine-
getting into all of this with what transgenderism is. Like, he doesn't know. It's not like he's sitting there doing it like maliciously to really
I don't
fuck
know.
with her.
I don't know how malicious it was, but it's like if there's someone in your face at your place of work saying, "Call me fucking ma'am," you should probably just call him ma'am. You're a you work in customer service. You're not there to be like, I don't know, like not great customer service on GameStop's part. I don't know if it was malicious, but she's sitting there screaming, screaming in your face, "Don't call me sir," and you call her sir.
Well, in the UK,
Like-
you could be arrested.
Well, yeah, I don't
For
agree
that.
with that. I don't agree with that. Because, again, that's Orwellian. But, fucking, yeah. And it's the main thing that gets to me is that it's so easy. It's so easy, like, not to misgender, like, not even in, like, the confrontational sense that we were talking about.
Right,
where
right.
you're getting heated. Just, like, in regular, like, in just the real world scenario. It's so easy to just, like to have someone say, "I'm a woman," and for you to say, like, "Okay." Like, it's the easiest thing in the world, and I don't understand why it's so much trouble to so many people.
No,
like, to make the
yeah.
mistake, if you make mistakes, and that's where I think a lot of people on the progressive side fall short, is like every mistake is an infinite failure.
Right, and
Even-
that's kind of what gets to me sometimes.
Even
is
ones
like,
from 40 years ago or whatever. It's just like, if someone really, you have to look at everything individually and just be like, if this person is willing to reconcile and do, I mean, and obviously it depends on the degree of whatever they did. There's so many factors that come into it. But if you accidentally misgender someone and then they correct you and you say, "Oh, I apologize," and then you move forward. If that can happen everywhere, I think everything will be a lot easier.
Yeah,
But it comes when people do maliciously misgender people, and on the flip side, when someone makes a mistake or has an honest slip up, and when so many people, like whether it's online or just in any sort of social faction, just get on them for it.
right.
Be like, "You fucking piece of shit!" Like, just
How dare you not know what this person wants to be called?
exactly. Like when you
Well,
do that, you outcast people.
I've had that happen to me before too, where I've been like at bars and stuff, and the whole like, "Did you just assume my gender?" Like, I've had that happen too, and that definitely turns you off from like wanting to, honestly know what people want to be called.
Right,
Yeah,
like if they just sat there and were like, "Oh, no, sorry," not don't have to apologize. Be like, "Oh, hey, I'm actually this gender or whatever. I identify as
Yeah.
this. Could you call me this?" Like that's how it could be. But like you were saying, Parker, a lot of people just immediately get just offended as hell. More so on this far left. And none of the transgender people I've met get like that. So I'm not even sure how realistic that sort of thing is. But most transgender people that I've met just be like, "Hey, by the way, I want to be called this." But we've been friends
Yeah.
for a little bit,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure how it is with strangers.
And I also I just don't think you can condescend anyone to understanding you or being on your side or getting a point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't just beat them down and call them stupid until they're like, because they're not going to be like, "You know what? You're right. I am stupid and I'm wrong."
Yeah.
They're going to get defensive.
We're agreeing too much again. We got to get some
yeah.
controversial shit up in this hoe.
Very much.
Oh, the next thing on the list.
What is it?
Well, we're all going to agree on this. Hopefully.
The national emergency?
Yeah.
Wait, are we going to talk about Japan?
Do you want to talk? I mean, we're not
What's-
really time constrained.
Yeah. What's in Japan?
I didn't actually clip out Japan, so just go ahead and explain that.
So basically, just there's a poll in Japan that I thought was interesting, where people in Japan view the U.S. as like more of a threat than China to them, and which is hilarious. But the other thing, the two things they said was climate change, which again is hilarious because China's way worse than America at climate change stuff, and cyber attacks. Those were the two things Japan cared the most about, and they ranked China as like at the bottom of like 12 countries that they saw as a threat.
I almost feel like this was ran by Japan must be run by China by this point.
Well, I was thinking
I
that.
was about to say, like,
do you guys
what-
think they're trying to But it was a poll.
Like the citizens.
Yeah, like the citizens of Japan, I think.
You can have
the survey.
biased polls for sure.
Mm-hmm. What if they went to like the pro-Chinese like wing, like some political party? They're like, hey, what do you guys think?
Yeah, you just
like,
go into
China's
the
great.
one of the biggest pro-China neighborhoods in Japan and be like, well, this seems like a regular Japanese neighborhood. Let's get this.
That's the thing I hate about most polls.
A lot of polls, yeah, like polls often mean nothing. A lot of the times they mean nothing because they fail to take so much into account.
What are you talking about? They were totally right about Hillary Clinton becoming president. So
yeah, on the day of the election, Trump was projected to have an 8% chance of winning.
Yeah, look at that one. Look at it.
No, a lot of places gave him a 0% chance of winning.
Oh yeah,
which is ridiculous.
No,
0%.
That's why you never go 0.
Yeah,
8% is still a chance, so they can still be like, hey, listen, damn.
Yeah, some things have happened that are weirder. All right, 8% is not, the percent to get accepted into Harvard is less than 8%.
Well, if you go at 8% and then the person wins, they'll be like, listen, the Earth exists. What were the odds of that?
Yeah,
like,
less than 8%.
Yeah, they'd be like, yeah, shut the fuck up. My poll was good.
Yeah. So.
No, but I just think Japan needs to watch their fucking mouth. They need to care about China because
that's why they're scared of us. Hey, watch your fucking mouth, Japan.
You're an average citizen, Parker.
Yeah. China's not telling them to watch their fucking mouth. They're just infiltrating their internet.
Oh man, the average citizen in
controlling
America.
their media.
Well, I just think China remembers a little event in history. It wasn't that important. It was called the Rape of Nanking. That they might be trying to get a little revenge for at some point. I just don't think. I think China should. I mean, I think Japan should.
What
be
Japan
very
might have
afraid
been
of
worried
China.
about. Japan might have been worried about earlier when we were messing with North Korea, trying to negotiate with them. Remember when North Korea sent that missile over Japan as like, like, hey, look what we can do.
Yeah,
type of shit.
like, hey, still want to fuck with us?
Yeah. So.
Look at that.
If that was taken during that time, I could see. Well, actually, I mean, that was only a year ago.
I was about to say, it's been a year since 9/11. Has it been like
exactly? If 9/11,
I mean, obviously,
happened,
like that different events, obviously, but still.
But no, I'm sure after the tsunami happened around that area, people in Japan a year later were like, yeah, we're kind of worried about it.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean?
It's like, yeah, that's still fresh in our minds.
Yeah, I lost my dog and my grandma. It sucked.
Yeah. And I got a new dog, and that new dog is only a year old. So it's not that far back in our memory.
7 dog years. That's how long it was.
Yeah. It's only been 7 dog years since they flew that missile over Japan. But somehow. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. I guess it makes sense.
So I think all we have left on the agenda. What's going on here?
Call in progress.
Oh, I'm canceling the wrong thing. Why can't I get it?
Why won't you leave me, serotonin?
What's happening? Serotonin is controlling everything.
Serotonin, you and your hot bars.
She rhymed us 5 separate times.
Can I get a serotonin hologram, please?
Okay, so we clearly saw all of this. But this is Trump talking about the...
I'm going to be signing a national emergency. And it's been signed many times before. It's been signed by other presidents. From 1977 or so, it gave the presidents the power. There's rarely been a problem. They sign it. Nobody cares. I guess they weren't very exciting. But nobody cares. They sign it for far less important things in some cases, in many cases.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on the state of emergency?
Why is he allowed to speak? There's no illegal immigration in the U.S. is at a 46-year low. There is no emergency. To believe so is to be deluded. There is no emergency of illegal immigration at the border. There's no... It's not an issue. There are more... what he was talking about, and what what enters a lot of people's minds is the caravan. And those were people seeking asylum, which is perfectly legal.
I mean, not all of them.
Actually,
a lot of them just rushed the border.
Well, because they wanted to go there and seek asylum. And we sent the military there, instead of more people to help with the whole asylum process.
Right.
Some aid, to make sure the kids are okay. Instead, we put them in cages and sent the military there. So, and then we sign a national emergency, which is, they're not, the last one I think was for H1N1. That was Obama's national emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Bush
There's
signed
been a
one.
ton of them.
Yeah, there've been,
though,
I think, like...
And some of them are for really weird stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like national emergency to recognize the government of South Sudan. It's a very weird thing.
Yeah, but the executive branch gets a lot of extra powers every time that you implement one of those. So there's probably something with Sudan that there's some sort of thing that the president at that time probably did that we don't even know about that's kind of fucked up. Because every time you're doing one of these things, it's just to get a little bit more power in the executive branch so you can do stuff. And the whole thing's not even constitutional.
Yeah, it's not even kind. Well, I guess it's in the since 19. It says 76 on this paper, and he said 77, so I'm gonna go ahead and say 76.
Yeah. It's 76. I looked it up.
Yeah, well, I know he didn't. So, why the fuck would he research anything? But no, since then, I guess it's been semi-constitutional to. Well,
no, it's not semi-constitutional at all.
To declare a national emergency.
It's completely illegal. It's completely illegal. It should be a null and void law. And I don't know what you should do with the people who pass those sort of laws. Should they all go to jail? But if the power is not specifically talked about within the Constitution, you are not allowed to just pass a law through Congress to give more power to the executive branch for them to be doing. It's against everything the nation even was put upon at its base. But no one gives a shit. No one cares.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. Well, yeah, fuck national emergencies.
Because what are we going to do when we have to sanction North Sudan, Ryan Grimes?
We don't. We just don't fucking do it.
I remember the one time it made George Bush declared a national emergency after 9/11. And I don't know what that did, but it but I don't think
it did something.
Yeah, it did something, but it's
it made everyone know.
When he did that, it's everyone was yeah, we know. This is an emergency.
We saw it on the news.
Yeah, that should be the only effect of a national emergency is hey guys, there's an emergency. So you know.
The problem is too, even for Republicans, is eventually there's going to be another Democrat president.
Oh, and I hate that.
What are they going to do? Declare national, declare gun violence a national emergency or whatever?
Healthcare.
I can tell you right now, this is what I think, and let me know what you guys think. But this is what I think is going to happen. So the law got passed in 1976 or whatever, and slowly but surely there have been more and more state of emergencies done, and now they've gotten pretty willy-nilly over the last president and this president. They just do it whenever the hell they want to be doing it, even though it's not really a national emergency. The next president who does it is going to do it the same way that Trump just did it, and it's going to get less and less of a national emergency each time they want to do it. It's just going to be slowly taking the power from the Congress to the executive branch, and this is how we fall slowly into totalitarianism.
Yeah, it's just a power grab.
Well, the one thing against it is I'm pretty sure that Congress can pass legislation to stop an executive action, a national emergency.
That goes to the president's desk and gets vetoed, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it needs 2/3 majority to override the veto, which they won't get because spineless Republicans in Congress. So. And if it goes to the Supreme Court,
you guys think
it'll
it's
go
going to
through
get
the
struck
courts.
down in the Supreme Court?
Yeah, where we've got a strong conservative majority. He gets what he wants, basically. And it's fucked.
No, it's going to go, even if we had a Democrat majority in the Supreme Court, it would get passed, because every single one before that's gone to the Supreme Court has gotten passed, because of that law that was passed. They're not going by the Constitution, they're going by that law that was passed. So it doesn't matter. I think I have something, Trump actually explains this pretty decently in this one clip that we have. This might be it.
Allies who say that you are violating the Constitution.
This isn't it. This is the one where they're violating the Constitution, which is true.
Coming into our country. That we create precedent, well, important than having a fight before I got here. And sadly, it'll go through a process, and
Just-
I can't believe these are sound bites of the fucking president.
Oh, yeah, very true. But this is all stuff. This is what I looked up earlier. This is Chris Ann Hall. She's a constitutional lawyer. She's got an article about all this shit. This is where I've got all my information, all of it, pretty much everything I was just talking about. How the 10th Amendment clearly does not delegate this power to the executive branch, and anything that is in I don't have Parker on the screen, but anything that is not delegated to any particular branch of government, they're not allowed to do, and that power falls to the states. So it is technically legal for states to do a state of emergency if they make a law in order to do that. So that's how they would go around it. She talks about here the question, can the president do this? I'm just skip to the very end. The short answer is no, you can't fucking do this. Like, you're not supposed to.
Well, the argument you could be made is that these laws were passed by Congress. So does Congress have the power to give the executive branch some of its power?
No, that's actually in the Constitution. The Congress does not have the authority to give up their power to another branch of government. Because Alexander Hamilton, there's a quote from him that's coming up that explains this.
Hold on, I'm just going to read the Constitution real quick.
Yeah, just try that out.
We the people.
We the people. There is no position in which, on clearer principles than that, every act of a delegated authority. I hate reading the Constitution because one, I'm not a good reader, and two,
I would have thought you'd have a tattoo of it by now, Ryan Grimes.
No. Anyway, contrary to tenure of the commission under which it is exercised, it's void. So, once they try to, like a law like this, when they're trying to push the powers to another branch of government, it's completely, it should have been voided by the Supreme Court.
The next sentence says it perfectly. No legislative act, therefore, contrary to the Constitution, can be valid.
Exactly. So
you can't pass a law in the Constitution that's against the Constitution.
Yes, but the Supreme Court, throughout the decades of America being a thing, has become corrupted, and they're not going by what the Constitution is, and they're not protecting the citizens. They're going to pass the boycott thing that Marco Rubio is pushing through. They're going to allow that to happen. I guarantee it. They're going to allow this wall to happen, even though it's not constitutional because they just passed some thing. And no one gives a shit because they're just ready for their guy to get in power so they can just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, everyone's just worried about 2020.
Yeah.
It's basically your job as a congressperson or an elected official is basically just to get elected. Once you're in there, figure out how to get reelected.
Well, the one thing I'd say in defense of national emergencies is we do live in a modern world where things do move a little bit faster than when the Constitution was written, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And look, you hate to do it, but sometimes you do need one guy with some power to get shit done.
Then make an amendment. Change the constitutional amendment. You can't make. What do you mean you can't make an amendment?
Because
there've only been 4 of them.
That's not true at all.
It's 300 years.
Wait, constitutional amendments?
Yeah.
I think he means added on.
Added on, yeah.
Which also is still wrong as fuck.
I was about to say, no, that's not true. But that Alexander Hamilton quote we just read. You can't put a law in the Constitution that's against what's already in the Constitution.
Right. No. I don't think that's what he was saying. He was saying unless the only amendable parts of the Constitution is when you get enough states together to change an actual amendment. You can't make a law that goes against that sort of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Unless it's amended, because that's a majority. I think it's 2/3 of the states coming together, being like, "Hey, motherfuckers, we're not into slavery anymore," that kind of thing. But here's the thing. I think this is it.
So
yes, this one explains it perfectly. This is exactly what's going to happen. Oh, didn't hit play.
So the order is signed, and I'll sign the final papers as soon as I get into the Oval Office, and we will have a national emergency, and we will then be sued, and they will sue us in the Ninth Circuit, even though it shouldn't be there, and we will possibly get a bad ruling, and then we'll get another bad ruling, and then we'll end up in the Supreme Court, and hopefully we'll get a fair shake, and we'll win in the Supreme Court, just like the band. They sued us in the Ninth Circuit, and we lost, and then we lost in the appellate division, and then we went to the Supreme Court, and we won.
He keeps talking like this, where at the end of everything, he says he does this
There is
thing
a
where
little raise in pitch.
we gotta talk like that for the rest of the podcast.
Listen, guys, this is exactly what's going to happen, though, and then it's going to happen again in the future when they want another state of emergency.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's just so sad that we're at this point, man. And it's going to happen. And it's going to happen again. Because so many people in the country, whoever's a big Trump supporter, does not give a shit about what the Constitution says at this point. So
Yeah.
get in the wall. When Obama did his, whoever was a big Obama supporter did not give a shit what was in the Constitution. Did you care? Well, you were young. I was young too. I didn't know what was going on either.
He declared one over H1N1, which is
see, this is what I'm talking about, Parker.
But no, I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying it wasn't racist. That's all. I'm just saying, like,
a border wall is not racist. Hold up.
Non-racist arguments for a border wall.
Racist?
Building a wall around your country is not racist.
It's hugely racist. It's a fucking monument to white supremacy. That's what the
oh
whole
my
thing
god!
is about.
You
Okay.
can't be
The wall
racist.
is about.
You can't be.
Let's
What, so
literally
Canada's
what the-
racist too because they don't let anybody into their country?
Who?
Canada's racist now too because they control their immigration strictly.
They don't have. Well, first of all, they're one of the most open countries to
They're not. They're one of the
immigrants,
hardest countries in the world to get citizenship. That's complete bullshit.
to asylum seekers and to
No, they-
refugees. They are one of the most open and welcome countries in the world.
Well, it's real easy to get to Canada, for if you're seeking asylum.
Well, there's not a
because they
fucking
have that
wall
big border
there.
with that country that produces tons of asylum seekers, America.
They don't.
Yeah, that's
they
the
don't need
only
a
country
wall
they
there.
have a
Everyone-
border with.
Yeah, they don't need a wall there because everyone comes through America first. They get asylum here in America or
That's
further down.
horseshit that it's
in Mexico.
racist to have a wall.
It's racist to
Why
have
is
a
it
wall
racist?
in
All right,
this
Tyler,
context.
I'm
I don't know
open.
if it-
this-
Go
just-
through the
hold
logic
on.
of why it's racist.
To have a
Tell me-
wall.
Tell me how
But again,
having
that
a wall with a
oversimplifies
country makes you hate a race. And which race is it too?
Which race is it?
Yeah,
Brown people. It is brown people.
brown people aren't a race, Dumbo.
Well, brown people are. Brown people are when I say brown people, it's an amalgam of races.
Okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. We're
Well,
gonna
not
so
non-white.
that's even harder to prove. That it's not just racist against one race; it's racist against
Just
multiple
skin color in
races.
general.
It's not okay. So let's again. This is the my facts don't care about your feelings argument because you're going to ask me for statistics on like.
No, we're not
what-
gonna ask about.
No, I'm gonna
statistics.
ask you for any. I want the logic of how it is racist.
Of how it is racist
Yes,
because it is
connect the two dots. Get me from wall inside your country to racist against multiple different races.
Okay, well, let's look at what a wall will do. Nothing. Most studies will conclude that a border wall along the southern border, what Trump is proposing, will not be helpful. It's not a worthwhile investment. If you want to control immigration, which I'm all for secure immigration. I'm all for immigration control and for making sure that there's a process. I don't think everyone should just be able to come in. But there's no proof that an actual physical border wall will do anything. So why build it? Why not listen to the people who are saying this? People who are nonpartisan and people who are
I mean, you
genuinely
have
interested.
reports on both sides saying the complete opposite thing. So, I mean, how do we know what exactly is true when it comes to that? We have reports that talk about how in that area that you have a border wall, it cuts down drastically. But then I think there's an argument of like the over.
Yeah, it happened in San Diego where they built a border wall
Yeah.
and illegal immigration got cut down.
Are you talking about
Oh, that
more
was-
of like people coming in through visas and shit like that, or like through airplanes? Like you're saying that?
I'm talking about people just crossing the border.
Oh, it's definitely going to cut down on that.
Well, that's not the issue. It's not illegal immigration. The most of the people who are here illegally are just overstaying visas.
I think it's like 42%.
It's a lot. It's a big lot.
Yeah, but then there's like a whole 58 other
But there are
So
people
the
that
other
do
58%,
illegally cross the border.
And I'm not
and the
saying-
other
Are all
issue
coming
is that's
from the
where a
southern
lot of
border?
human trafficking
no,
goes through.
58% do not come from the border, that area. But I mean, it's a large. I don't know the exact percentage through that. But the other 58% come through somewhere illegally other than visa.
This is one of the things I hate is anytime you like talk about immigration, like you get called a racist.
No, but
by
that's
people
just
on the left.
I think
you can build a wall in your country to wall off a different country that's not racist at all.
It is when you have no reason to wall off that country.
What do you mean?
Than that. You do, because
they believe it's going to curb immigration.
It's not. It definitely.
You think that? That's not what they think, though.
It's statistically, it won't happen. There's no reason, and also it's completely impractical. The landscape of the southern border, which is covered in mountains and lakes and all kinds of shit, it's entirely impractical. And then you have to build it.
So how does it being impractical make it racist?
Because that's the only reason you would do something so impractical. And also because that's the dude, and this is a dude who wants a monument built to himself. This is the dude who said he would like to see his face on Mount Rushmore.
I believe that. I think it's more that than he's racist.
Well, no, I think it's a monument to Trump, and Trump's a racist. Trump's a racist who hates Mexicans, he hates brown people, he hates Muslims, and he's made that 100% clear.
Can you think of any possible way to want to limit the amount of immigrants into the country that would not be racist?
Limit illegal immigration?
Even legal immigration.
To limit legal immigration?
Mm-hmm.
Why would we limit legal immigration?
Due to the fact that I looked at some study, I believe it was 55% of all legal immigrants come here and go on some sort of welfare program or benefits, and that adds to the bill on top of that that's ever expanding because we bring in like what, 1 million a year of just legal immigrants. And then the illegal, I don't really have. See, I believe also, okay, so I think what people's problem is with the illegal immigrants is they don't give a shit about people in general. It's just more of a power game because one party knows that illegal immigrants are going to come in here, they're going to chill for a while, and then eventually someone's going to push for an amnesty bill, which happens like every once a decade it seems like. And then those people get citizenized, and they vote for, obviously, the party that pushed for, which would be the Democrats. And so the Republicans, so I don't really think the whole border wall or anything really has to do with the drugs they talk about or any of that shit. Because if you want to deal with that, you would just legalize the drugs and stop the drug war. So it's all just a little fucking power game that's going on right now, where the Republicans know, we got to put this wall, limit the amount of legal immigrants, because we know the Democrats in the future are going to try to do an amnesty bill to get a lot more voters into the country. And that the Republicans are going to be like, okay, so if we keep them out and we can deport these other legal immigrants slowly, we'll be able to get more power in the future. I don't think it has to do with any of the moral stuff about anything. I think it's literally just that. It's the fact that the Republicans know that immigrants come over here. Once they get citizenized, they vote for them, for the Democrats.
But why do they? Why do they vote for Democrats?
Because
they're going to give them more benefits.
Yeah, 55% go on benefits, so that more than half would vote for the people who want to give more benefits.
Yeah, but it's also
because the Democrats are historically pro immigration and immigrants.
Yeah,
and they want their family to come here.
Yeah. I think that's, and Republicans are historically anti-immigrant. If you come over here and it's like you have two parties to choose from, basically. You could choose from others, but none of them matter. There's two parties that matter. This one likes you and this one literally wants to deport you. Which one are you going to pick?
Exactly.
Like what, but to say that,
I mean, that's not completely true. Like the Republicans have worked on legislation that allows like genius visas and stuff that allow certain immigrants to come in. They're completely against immigration.
So as long as you're a genius, you can come be American. If you can get a Nicaraguan PhD, then you can come you can come work in an American kitchen. You're up to par because you're a genius. What a crock of shit. That's so fucked. It's totally fucked. Because you don't need to be white and be a genius to get in here. It takes almost 10 years to become a legal U.S. citizen.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's a huge process.
Mm-hmm.
Fix that process. That's my solution.
I'd agree with that.
Fix that process.
Yeah.
While maintaining border security. You can maintain border security without a wall, and it's a lot less expensive, and it's a lot more proficient. And it relies on tactics that have to do with the real ways that problems are happening right now when it comes to drugs, fucking crime, all that shit. It comes to modern solutions for the modern problems. And a wall, just to build a wall, it's an archaic, ineffective solution. And more than anything, it's a monument to a man who historically has always been a racist.
Gotcha.
I definitely don't think a wall is an efficient use of resources.
I would agree.
I'm definitely against building a wall, but I also don't think, I also think that, America really does need to have a real discussion about immigration. America has, a lot of people don't know this, has the most immigrants of any country, which I'm all for. But
that's what we are.
Well, here's my other thing, because people always go, "Oh, we're a nation of immigrants." Is we're the first nation to ever really do that. To be like, hey, come on in. But also, when we were originally doing that, we did not have a welfare state in which people who came here would go on, get citizenized, and then go on the welfare state. If you got here and couldn't make it here, you would go home. You would leave. You'd have to leave because you wouldn't be getting that stuff unless you relied on some sort of private charity. So I think it was 1/3 of the people would go back home. Now they all just stay here. They stay on the toll, and since we bring in 1 million a year. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the cutoff. I think it's 1 million a year, but over half of them are going on welfare every single year. So we're just adding that bill every single year. It doesn't seem very sustainable for the long-term future, and that's a thing where you're talking about immigration status. That would be a conversation to have, like Barker was talking about.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what people.
There's also a difference too between bringing a ton of immigrants in during the Industrial Revolution when you need factory workers, and bringing a ton of immigrants into a service-based United States economy, too. That's the other thing is, what are they all going to do when in 15 or 20 years when automation starts to really take over, what jobs are they going to do?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. No, but just hear me out.
That's like saying, I don't. What are we going to do about climate change? We'll figure it out.
There was a reason that a lot of immigrants left the country when, they would come to the United States, they'd stay for a while, and then they'd leave. It's because they made money here. They made good money. You could get a good job. When you come to America now, a lot of the same, the welfare programs that you're talking about, a lot of our own native citizens use those programs for the same reason these immigrants are using them, and that's because you can't get a good fucking job that pays well and keeps up with inflation. You can't afford to do anything. And maybe it's better to live on, on just when you're flat broke living on welfare. Maybe that's better than your situation in whatever country that you came from, which was possibly run by a cartel, where there were possibly people dying in the street. Yeah, exactly. And the U.S. government put that cartel in power. They chased you out of your own country, and they get mad at you when you get here.
Yeah. No. I would completely agree with the way America has gone in and fucked with, even with the UK immigration situation they have there with Syria and all those things. The U.S. involvement in Syria and all the Middle East is the reason that's going on too. The same thing has happened when we got involved with the cartels down South America. But there is a economic reality of the cost of all that, because you're saying, all of our citizens do it too. I personally believe that we need to cut back on the amount of citizens that we have here right now that are on that. With the immigration that we have coming on, with more than half of them each year that come in and go right on some benefits, that bill just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And that's not a sustainable thing. I'm not looking for the right now. I'm looking for what's more sustainable for the country in the future to actually exist instead of collapsing like every other society that's done this sort of thing.
I think it'll just eventually collapse, man. It's just, it is what it is. It's just, you can't.
Tyler, are you an accelerationist or whatever?
No, I'm just saying you
can speed up the collapse of Western civilization.
No, all empires fall. It's just
they don't need to though. They fall because of this stuff, because of just constantly spending and spending and.
Hey, it's a big thing. It is true. It's a thing of history where when you have uncontrolled immigration, that normally signals the fall of an empire. It happened to Rome. It happened to
Rome had a welfare
China.
State. Rome had a welfare state too. That's partially what took them down as well. Also,
I think that's a hard thing to argue. That I've never seen any academic paper that Rome's welfare state was what led to their downfall.
Oh, I could find multiple, but we can I can't find them right now. But I can bring it up next week.
The welfare state, from what I've read, it was, or as you call it, but was because wealth inequality was so high that all the peasants were starting to get pissed, so they had to like feed them so they didn't revolt.
This is the problem with history.
Well, that's
I have a completely different history.
Because this is like what you're talking about is basically two forms of democracy. It's Aristotelian democracy versus what you could call what would you call it?
I have no idea.
Well, no, our constitutional democracy.
A republic.
Well, no, not even that. Just
get him, Parker.
It's like
what?
We're in a republic,
like
not a democracy.
You couldn't go to like Madisonian democracy.
Gotcha.
James Madison.
Gotcha.
James Madison's definition of democracy. Aristotle believed in the welfare state, and he was the guy who basically put democracy on paper. Like, this is what democracy is, and democracy, in his view, was the superior way to run a society. It was the best possible way to run a society, and he said that was the main issue. Like, well, what happens when you have a class divide that makes really wealthy people really wealthy and really poor people really poor? How do you keep the poor from uprising and just stealing the money from the rich? He said the solution was a welfare state. You have programs in place that provide for people, and you make sure that people at least have their basic necessities so that they don't, feel as though they're getting, like, that they have to die at the expense of some guy getting richer.
Right.
Now, Madisonian democracy sort of changed that a little bit and sort of said, like, well, I don't know, like there's a bourgeoisie class kind of where we'll kind
Sounds
of
a lot like more Marx.
Well, basically the rich will intermingle with the government so that we can, so that there can be a certain, like, we'll always, as government officials and as a certain level of society, we'll always be above them, but we can always keep them in check.
Okay.
So that's the difference between not Madisonian. God damn it. Yeah, James Madison. Madisonian and Aristotelian democracy, at least from what little I know about it.
I'll have to look into more of the Madisonian one because I can almost guarantee he didn't go like, hey, we're going to start this thing so the rich and the government can fuck the poor.
Well, no, he just said, like, but we don't have to have a welfare state. We don't have to hand all our money.
I don't believe we do need one. I really do think if we did not have a welfare state, then private charities would actually deal with all of this shit that's going on.
I think we're going to start needing one once automation really kicks in. Because
just let everybody die?
Eventually all the wealth would just, like, concentrate at the top if they don't need workers anymore.
I mean, you would just need more skilled, like, it would be a more skilled workforce.
You don't need nearly as many people to run a factory when it's automated as you do when it's not.
You need people to deal with the robots and all that stuff. Literally,
but not
you would
many.
have to change your public school system to teach people from a young age how to do all this stuff. Because the bureaucracy behind the public school system is so huge, that shit doesn't ever happen. But people should be coding right now in public school. Like,
I don't disagree with that. That's actually a good. You should should totally know way more about computers in school. But I don't think you should need skills to I don't think skills should be a prerequisite to survival. Like, just because you're an unskilled citizen, like, you're like, no, I don't have a college degree. I don't really know how to do anything special. But, like, I'm willing to, like, if you give me something to do, I'll show up. Like, and I'm just a person. I'm just a regular person. I don't think that should be a death sentence, And you get into the
but there should be some pressure for you to produce stuff for society too.
Sure, absolutely, but I don't think
because then you end up with 17 people that are all SoundCloud rappers. You know what I mean? Like, that's my job.
Yeah, but
hey, I'm doing my best, guys.
But if automation rules out so much of what we know as a work, like, what we understand as a workforce, that nobody has anything to do. I don't, like, other than just let those people die. I don't know what other option we have than a welfare state.
Die. I mean,
you do though. That's the only thing. Like, you either let them die or you kick them out.
Kick them out of the country?
No one's
kicking them out of the country.
You can't. But that's just it. Like, what other solution? Like, they have to survive.
That goes around in the society that we have nowadays. But
there's bureaucracy and charity, though. Most of the biggest charities spend most of their money on. Yeah, most of the biggest and best charities spend the majority of their money on advertisement. That's how we know about them. The best charities are the ones you don't know about because they're giving 100% of their proceeds to charity.
The best charities in society do get more of their money to the people that they're trying to help than the actual government does through the entire bureaucracy that they have. going on with all this stuff, the amount of people they have to pay.
The government doesn't have to spend their money on advertising.
Yeah,
though.
and they still don't
So-
get as much money to the people. Which, like, once
I
again,
think
I'd have to
most
find
of taxes
articles
are
that I've
spent
said-
on
Yeah, what about
something.
yeah? They spend our like we all give money to
What?
the government.
Hold on, Ryan.
Like
What did you say?
that taxes, like the total like gross taxes in the United States are less than.
I'm talking to about like who, like with charities who want to help out the impoverished versus the government who wants to help out the impoverished. The money that the like the percentage of the money that comes
That
into
actually
the government
goes to the people.
that actually goes to the people who are impoverished in the welfare programs is less than the actual money that comes in from the charitable programs that goes out, because there's a greater
that goes
bureaucracy.
contrary to what I've read, where only about, for a lot of big charities, it's around 10 to 20% of every dollar you give them actually goes to helping people, because of they have a CEO and they spend so much money on advertising.
You know how much money? You know how much money from Goodwill goes to charity, or it goes to helping people?
How much?
0. They give people jobs. That's it. It's a
Oh, really?
Yeah. They don't give any money to charity. Goodwill just takes a profit. But they give jobs to people who might not otherwise have jobs, so that's their angle. But as far as like giving money back to the community, Goodwill gives nothing.
You think
But they're considered a
immoral for that?
charity. Do I think they're immoral for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they tout themselves like a charity.
Right.
It's just like if it was just like this is Goodwill, this is a store, and we give people a chance. Where really a lot of the big companies will give people, like Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart will give a whole lot of people a chance. Like there's a lot of places you can get a job. It's not a selling point anymore. It's like, oh, we give jobs to drug addicts. It's like, yeah, what are you, a piece of shit? Like you need to, like, people need help and they need ways to get off these drugs and they need something to support themselves with. So if you give money give a job to someone who's a recovering drug addict, as long as they meet the qualifications, you're only doing the right thing. That doesn't make you a charity. It doesn't make you anybody special.
Gotcha. Okay.
Especially when you give 0% of your profits to charity and your CEO makes millions a year.
Let's get back to the immigration debate that we were having.
Yeah.
Because we went off a little far on that. What was the last thing we were saying on that? Because we got off from the fact of the wall being racist.
The wall's racist, I believe, because it's Trump's wall. I'm not saying a wall in and of itself on the border is racist, but based on the context in which it's being funded and which it's been, touted by Trump,
right,
and to his supporters and what they want out of the wall, it's a racist monument to a racist asshole.
I just think that's such a leap to say that. I'm not denying Trump's racist, but I think that the most obvious thing is that it's a wall about immigration more than about race. And I feel like that's a little conspiracy to like say that it's secretly a racist monument.
I don't think it's secret. That's how I see it. That's literally what I see.
I mean, they don't call it a racist monument.
What?
So
it's the border wall. It's literally a giant wall along the border, and it was built by a president who didn't get congressional approval, used an emergency order when there was no emergency to get an $8 billion wall built.
Yeah, but that doesn't prove it's racist at all.
It does when the guy who's doing all of that is racist. Pretty much, no.
Are you seriously saying that going around Congress is racist?
No.
That act?
No, I'm
that
saying
declaring a national emergency is racist?
No, I'm saying the reason he declared a national emergency and the reasons he's doing what he's doing.
Well,
and
the
his
reasons
solutions to this problem that doesn't even really...
I don't believe it has anything to do with race. I believe it has everything to do with him wanting more political power in the future and wanting to win the 2020 election.
Yeah,
and it's a show for his supporters that wanted a wall because of immigration. That's most of the reason why he's doing it.
Most of his supporters...
It's not because he's going that'll show brown people.
Well, most of his supporters are misinformed about immigration anyway. They've been bred to hate people like that because they are racist. And they voted for him because he is racist. And he's doing this for them, and it is all very racist.
There are tons and tons of Latinx supporters of Trump who I don't think are racist against their own race.
There are not tons and tons. That's
I mean, there's a lot of low wage workers. I mean,
people.
Labor in the market works the same way with supply and demand as everything else. The more people you bring in here every year that are low skilled workers, the lower those wages are going to be because there's more workers for the amount of jobs that are available in those skilled in those areas. So I mean, there's a completely viable non-racist argument to keep people out from these other countries. And like I said, this is just me playing devil's advocate right now because I'm not for the border wall. I'm actually, if you don't have a welfare state, I'm for open borders. But I do think once you have the welfare state, you have to control the amount of people that come into your country each year. And you have to make sure they're not people that are going to go on the government toll and add to that bill, that slowly add to your debt to a point where you're just going to sit there and add more money to the monetary policy by printing it or adding it into just adding some zeros into shit, devaluing your currency over the centuries that your country exists.
No, I don't think any of that is racist.
Exactly. And there are a ton of people who support Trump and
have you ever heard Trump say anything like that though? Like,
I know, but if you're going to be left with two decisions, and this is the thing that sucks, because if you're left with two decisions, because you already talked about the fact that none of these other parties matter, right? You're left with Hillary Clinton or this. It was one extreme versus another extreme. If you're in the middle, you're going to pick one of them. Who are you going to pick? You're going to pick the closest one to the things that represents what you believe. And those people believe that the debt is going to be a terrible fucking thing in the future, and we can't be adding all these people to the government toll. So who's the closest guy to that versus Hillary Clinton and him? Him. So a lot of people voted for him because of that. It doesn't mean Sure, there's some racists that voted for that voted for Trump. I guarantee there's a lot of racists in the country, but wanting that sort of policy does not instantly mean, I don't know, because you're over here arguing that Trump is racist and it's racist because Trump's doing it. But not all his supporters are fucking racist, man. Like what you're.
I think I saw something online and it made a lot of sense to me. It was talking about how there were people, and obviously low blow. I'm going to Nazi Germany, but I know. Don't worry. I wanted to let you know beforehand.
Whole episode, Tyler. I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, I know.
I appreciate the just so you guys know.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to go into this analogy without warning you that I'm bringing
up for future shows. We should have a counter for the times Trump is compared to Nazi Germany.
Yeah, put a little check on this calendar.
Oh man, if we ever have Ian Salyers on this show with Tyler, oh my god,
you guys are done because he's so much smarter than me.
I wouldn't say that.
So much more but he's got all the articles and facts to back shit up.
Right. He does do a lot of research on it. I like the guy. I'm going to look forward to debating him on this.
No, I love
Keep going.
But yeah, shouts out to Ian Salyers. But your pal Salyers on Twitter and Instagram. But anyway, it had said there were people in Nazi Germany who voted or who were supportive of Hitler because of what he said about economics and what the promises he made for Germany as a country. Mm-hmm. And it had nothing to do with Jews. It had nothing to do with concentration camps. It just had to do with the prosperity of Germany. And there's a name for those people, and it's Nazi. Because you don't get to say that we supported it because it seemed economically viable. It was it was what it was. And you don't get to support a Nazi and say you're not a Nazi. So I think I'm a big he has made more than enough. He's made it more than clear enough that he is absolutely unequivocally racist towards non-white people. I am 100% certain of that. And he has made that clear one of the first things he did in his presidency was he called for a ban of all Muslims entering the country.
That's not true.
Yes, he did.
He called for a ban against of countries that were predominantly Muslim.
He said,
that's different.
I am calling for a ban on Muslims entering the country.
That's not what he did, though.
That's
not what the thing was. It was 7 specific countries that were predominantly Muslim.
When you
we gotta not talk over one another.
No, I know what
we're not going to get what you're saying. Something. Repeat what you just were talking about.
I'm just saying I know what he did, and and it was still fucked up. But what he said was, "I'm calling for a ban on Muslims." Now, when you say that, it has weight. It has a whole lot of weight. And there are ways to be racist in that aren't so forward. You can be a racist and not use racial slurs. You can be a racist and present it in a variety of ways. But he's presented it in about every way I can imagine, other than just getting on TV and screaming the N-word with his dick out.
But Parker's talking more about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Parker was talking about more of the actions that were taken. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, saying that was a ban on all Muslims entering the country is incorrect. It's just factually wrong.
Not to mention,
and he didn't. I know that he didn't do that, but that's factually.
Then why do you keep saying?
Because he said it, dude. Look up the video. That is a direct fucking quote.
This is also a guy who misspeaks all the fucking time.
Yeah, but he's the president. Doesn't
I'm not
for anything.
I'm not saying that I'm glad that he's the president.
It's just like, oh, he fucked up.
All I'm gonna say is
Obama
proposed a ban of those same countries. But
he didn't say.
And is he racist against Muslim people now too?
But he was nice. So what you're saying is, but he was nice about it. That's the same thing when he's attacking journalists. Trump isn't attacking journalists at the point, really not all that I can tell about, at the point that Obama was. But no one gives a fuck about the thing that Obama was doing when he was going after all these journalists and jailing them. But just because he was nice, he just came off as a nice guy.
I'm not.
And we won't get on a tangent.
Yeah, no, Obama's a whole different thing. I'm not but I'm not 100% Obama either. Obama fucked up plenty. But yeah, you won't. No one will get me to believe that Trump's policies aren't at least all of them aren't at least partially driven by racism, and that this one is driven a lot by racism. It has a lot to do with everything you're talking about, very legitimate issues regarding immigration. I'm not saying that that's not involved at all. Mm-hmm. But this man is not. He's not a good person, and he's definitely a racist.
I don't think he's a good person either.
He's 100% a racist, and I don't like that it's the new norm to be like, oh well, he just messed up what he said. Oh, he fucks up all the time. Oh shit, are you frozen?
Oh, I think we just lost Parker.
Parker, no.
All right, we will reconvene as soon as we can get Parker back. All right, we got Parker back. Skype just failed a little bit. This son of a bitch. Hey, how about you restart your router before we start doing these things, dude?
I'm on
peanut butter.
I'm on a public Wi-Fi right now, so I don't have access to the router.
Oh, then I apologize for my statement. It was kind of cunty, to be honest. I apologize.
Why don't you change your router, you fucking dipshit?
Oh shit. Okay.
No, I'm not even gonna go there. That was just dumb. What I was thinking of. Sorry. Is there any other stories we wanted to talk about?
There was this one postmodernism thing I was going to get into.
Yeah, the
simulacra
and simulation.
Yeah.
You're going to have to walk us through it, and then we can give our opinions off of it, because I couldn't do verbatim.
Yeah. Well, it was just, I'm not saying that this is what I believe now. It was just an episode of Philosophize This. It's by a guy called Stephen West. Anyone who listens to this, definitely check out that podcast because it's really cool. And he had an episode on a philosopher, Jean Baudrillard, who was from the 80s. And he was one of the big postmodernist philosophers. And he wrote a book called Simulacra and Simulation. And that book that's been circulated a bunch. And a lot of people have since used it in their defense of the possibility that we might be living in a simulation. And usually, when people talk about that, they talk about some giant computer database where we're on some hard drive, and that there's some, we're just experiencing a simulation based on what some other worldly leader in another dimension is tapping away at a computer, and that's what we're living. That we're just, we're just zeros and ones, basically. We're just code. And that there's no really way, we can't really prove otherwise. There's no real way to prove otherwise. But what Jean Baudrillard said was he made the point when he wrote 3 articles about the Gulf War. They were called "The Gulf War Will Not Happen," "The Gulf War Isn't Happening," and "The Gulf War Never Happened." And because the point of all that was that people were receiving information about the Gulf War all over the world. If you turn on the news, that's what was on the news. And those people, through that information they got what they understood to be an idea of what was happening over there. But they never saw the gunfire, the bombs. They never lost family members. And what his point was, to the vast majority of the world, the Gulf War is literally not happening. And we are receiving information about it based on a media that has its own intentions and its own idea of what the story should and shouldn't be. Even that media doesn't truly know what's happening over there. So to the vast majority of the world, this devastating war is not happening. And the point of that was to say that we are constantly being fed information from a media that we sort of produced, and that our original perspective, the original human condition as we know it, is so far from what we understand, because we've been fed media and ideas, and we've been brought up based on, like, cultures have developed all around us, and we've been brought up based on a very narrow cultural perspective, based on what only we know. And we're constantly fed media that fits into that narrow cultural perspective. And we use that media to create opinions, and we, sometimes we create art, we protest it, but basically we are not being fed an absolute image of what is happening. So his argument was that if we do live in a simulation, it's not some giant computer database. It's the simulation is us, because we have seen it's the reality that we understand based on what we're experiencing has been so limited by mass media and by just our own cultural disposition that we are seeing a version of reality that can hardly be called true reality. And that was his argument for living in a simulation, that we're creating the simulation ourselves. It isn't some big computer.
That seems like a legit ass argument. I mean, you can see all this stuff there. Like, why is the war in Syria still going on? Because, one, our media here never really covers it much. And two, like you were talking about, no one here in America is in fucking Syria. Mm-hmm. So they don't know what's going on over there all the time, all the bombings and shit like that. So they don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm. When they stopped talking about it on the news, essentially, he was arguing that it literally, for someone not involved in the situation, it literally stops happening. It does not happen to you. You do not experience that. Yeah. I haven't heard about Syria in like a year. I am not experiencing that crisis in any way, shape, or form.
Right, yeah. And
it doesn't exist to me.
And the only reason I just follow up the shit, like, what? Over 50%, and this is being conservative, only over 50% don't fucking know anything about that going on over there, of the country here. No one follows any of that sort of stuff.
I'd say way over 50%. It's ridiculous how many people don't follow politics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is just... Yeah, it's like any media is going to trap you into whatever... this simulation it's a suggestion, and I'm not saying I agree with it 100%. I'm just saying it's a really cool point and a really unique way to look at the idea of living in a simulation, because I had only ever heard people talking about, oh, it's a big computer database,
like Matrix, like the Matrix.
Exactly. And when you're just in a pod, or you're in just a computer, and sometimes you see glitches or weird things, and that's because it's the imperfection of a computer. But the idea that it's actually just an organic thing that we've created through our need of information. Yeah. And so we've basically created and constantly consumed levels of like either a lack of information or misinformation that have created our perspective, which is so skewed that it can't even really be called reality.
It's funny that that you brought that up with all this, because that's kind of what our show's fucking about, isn't it? Like, we're trying to get other people with other political biases, because I don't agree with you on a lot of things you said today. But
it's
like,
just
I know him now. I didn't know him before.
Yeah,
and you kind of broke my matrix.
Same with you, man. Like, same with both of you. It's like, I get to fucking. That's what's cool. Is like we said at the beginning, the amalgam of ideas. It's not just one.
Yeah, but also we are in a computer simulation too. Just to add on.
No. Let's not make any mistake about that. Of course we are.
There is a speed limit in the universe.
No, but for real.
Why is that there?
I'm not real.
Because it's a simulation.
Yeah, man. The other day I opened my dryer. Shit was still going. You know why?
That's a glitch.
Someone forgot to push a button somewhere in the simulation room.
Fucking Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Little bitch.
He fucked up, so I got to see what happens in the dryer after it's or before it's done.
Did you see the code? Did you see the ones and zeros?
Yeah, dude, it was nuts.
Dude,
I was like grabbing socks out, like I was like, like.
I'm telling you right now, dude. I've had some weird shit happen because, like, you guys know my medical history. For those who who are listening, I had meningitis, encephalitis, fell into a coma. And then when I got out of the coma, I had a bunch of medical issues after that. I'm telling you, man, like I would be looking around and I would see little blue and red lightning bolts in my vision before I would go to sleep. And then on those nights, I knew if that happened, I was going to have a terrible night terror that night. And that happened for like a year. But like
Shit.
just that little thing that can happen within your brain, like you don't know really what that is. Like,
Yeah, the circuitry of your brain is just so vast and like there's just so much. And there's so much that like, again, like even we're talking about different perspectives, but even us, we all live in the same state.
Right.
We're all white. We're all in our 20s. So even our perspective as a whole is still so narrow.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's so it's so skewed.
that's why I want to get as many people on this show with us three as possible to come on here and just like talk about shit, even if they're not like comics, just like people in general. If they're involved in like some sort of political thing or just like we got a black guy on here or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, or maybe we could stop making this such a goddamn sausage fest.
Oh
too.
yeah, get a girl
I actually-
on the show.
I
You know what we should do? We
I
should
actually
talk
have
about
one lined up for 2
reproductive
weeks.
rights before we have a girl on the show.
Yeah, let's get that out of the
That'll
way.
be a very smart move.
I have a girl coming on in 2 weeks. I'm gonna ask her. She was gonna come on next week, but she has to go.
Who
do
is
something.
it?
You know Megan Graves.
No.
Well, she just started doing comedy in the Frederick area. She's pretty funny. She helped me out with a little skit I made, but she's like a ultra feminist. So we're gonna talk about like reproductive rights and stuff that week.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Ultra
But-
feminist here for reproductive. I'm just like, okay, Megan, you be smart for me.
Like
Like you give them the statistics and the articles that I'm too lazy to look up.
Hey man, I know a bunch of science. I know a lot about biology and physiology, so I'm gonna crush on that one.
Oh yeah,
But-
be sure to tell.
I'm
her
gonna
what
bring
her
my-
body does.
I'm gonna
Be
bring
sure
my
to-
jar
Be sure to
of-
let her know what her body is there for. Like be like, hey, I know what's happening there. Don't think I don't know.
Body has a way of shutting that thing down.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna go there.
Oh my god.
Brian, does the body have a way of shutting that whole thing down? Biologist?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, you can't shut down rape.
I know some guy said that back in the day,
Yeah,
right?
it was like someone in Congress, I think.
Yeah, he's like a crazy Christian conservative.
Can you just imagine if he was just like he heard someone was raped? He's like, wait, what?
Don't worry about it.
The
Wait,
body
what's-
has a way of shutting that down, though.
Oh, they must have been sick. Must have been an immunity issue.
Oh,
Like,
I think what he was saying was once they
Oh.
are raped, the body has a way of shutting down the baby because like it's an immoral baby, so the body's gonna be like, "Pah."
or it's like, oh, you just like
They
dry
talk a lot
up.
about morality
just
in your
Mojave in,
biology
like, 2
classes,
seconds.
don't they, Ryan?
What's up?
A lot of it is about how morality interacts with biological systems, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. That guy knew what he was talking about.
Yeah,
You're right.
Life is fair. Like biology is very fair.
Oh shit. Well, I gotta take a piss. Do you guys want to end it here or keep going? Because I'll be right back.
I think we should probably end it here.
Yeah, I'm thinking
I think
about
we've
it.
been
Yeah.
going a little while, and I have to.
You have to be at work at 4, right?
Yep.
Bet. All right. Yeah. I
Hold on,
start
before you
working again
guys
next week, so
leave,
it'll be
can
4
you,
o'clock wherever I'm going. What?
Just after the show or whatever, can you guys just listen to this 4-minute thing me and some of my friends made and tell me if you guys think it's funny?
Oh yeah. Hey, this has been Preferably Biased, everybody. Thank you very much for watching the the inaugural episode. Once again, Ryan Grimes.
Tyler Dark.
Parker Brown.
Thank you very much, guys. We'll be back. Anyone that is interested in coming on the show, feel free to message me if you have some sort of political thing to talk about. We do our shows Saturdays at 12, and we have them up by 7 o'clock at night on Saturdays. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Later.